what you thought you knew from the shed of dreams, the Leake in review.
Patrick Guay from Montreal's Evenko will be joining us to discuss all things Osheaga Festival, a fest that I've only been to a couple times, but I vow to continue going. It's awesome. More on that in a bit. First, some news. Jay-Z has filed a defamation lawsuit against the woman who accused him of rape. The anonymous woman who withdrew her lawsuit against the rapper-producer after accusing him of raping her when she was 13 at a party in 2000. Jay-Z's legal team is accusing Jane Doe and her lawyers of extortion and being soullessly motivated by greed. Paul McCartney has written an open letter in support of Joe Cocker's introduction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2025, saying, Joe was a great man and a fine singer whose unique style made for some fantastic performances. Keep in mind, Cocker likely made the Beatles a ton of extra cash when he covered With a Little Help from My Friends. Curious what your thoughts are. Should Joe Cocker, or as my grandmother once referred to him as Joe Dickhead at the record store all those years ago, get into the Rock Hall this year? I sat down with Alan Cross to discuss this, and here's what his thoughts were.
Next on the list is Joe Cocker. I'm not a big fan of this because Joe Cocker's biggest hits came from him reinterpreting other people's hits.
Good point. Very good point. There's a lot of bands out there that's another thing that I don't think people understand is like, well, your biggest song was a cover? Yeah. Someone else's track? That doesn't sit.
And You Are So Beautiful does not rank as a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame song. I'm sorry.
When your ears have a minute, go check out that episode of the Leake in Review. Alan Cross and I discussed the entire Rock Hall nominees list for 2025. Maybe you disagree with what some of our thoughts are.
Where there's a heartbeat and a stage, there's an artist set to perform. This is the Leake in Review on tour.
Brought to you by Pecan Artist Agency, connecting artists with audiences worldwide. Cancer Bats hit Kingston on the 20th of March. 21st, they play Toronto. Hamilton and London then follow. On the 22nd, you can catch Whitehorse. They're in London, Ontario. Guelph on the 23rd and Kingston on the 28th. And Deer Rouge have a couple dates coming up on Vancouver Island. April 8 in Nanaimo and April 9, you can catch Deer Rouge in Victoria. Patrick Guay drops in to talk about the Osheaga Music Festival after this.
Hi, my name is Kim Stockwood. I am a proud Newfoundlander and a Canadian singer-songwriter. In a landscape where many lack access to health benefits or employee assistance programs, the Unison Fund serves as a lifeline of hope for musicians and music industry professionals facing medical emergencies or mental health challenges. To learn more about Unison and their programs, please visit unisonfund.ca.
Hey, I just noticed that Osheaga made a major announcement.
Last week, we finally got it out the door. It was definitely an interesting year on the booking level, but we figured it out, and people seem to be excited. Except for if you were on Reddit. Then you're not excited. Then you hate us.
It's so funny. I've been talking a lot lately with people how you just can't win. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's a catastrophe to somebody. One person's happy, two people are mad. And it's like, why? Why are we all so upset all the time?
I know. Well, just everyone has a platform now, to just have their thoughts, out there,
Is it just me, or was the announcement for Osheaga 2025 late this year? Do you not normally get it out like right around the holidays?
Well, funny thing is that there was a time where it was like we'd be at South by Southwest and we'd announce there. But for the last bunch of years, we've done headliner announce in December, and then the rest of the lineup would come like around this time, like around like early to late like mid to late February kind of thing. But we just, there was no urgency to buy tickets, and people were like, we'd sell a couple thousand tickets or something like that. It just would I think it had more impact. At least we're going to try this year. It's like have more impact, just like come out with the full thing right away. And, seems to be paying off. But, again, I think that most people know that if we are going to sell out, it's not going to be until like June or something. Well, this year might be different, but like June, July will usually sell out. So what's the rush, right?
What is the capacity for Osheaga?
50,000 a day.
50,000 a day. Like,
yeah,
that is incredible. And you've been doing this for how many years now?
Osheaga is going to year 17 this year.
So year one, did you have 10,000 people a day?
Less than that. I think it was Sonic Youth and Ben Harper were the headliners. And I think there might have been 4,000 people a day, maybe.
Incredible.
With comps.
Yeah, with comps. And now I was also thinking, between all the festivals that you, Patrick Guay, and your team at Evenko produce, there's Osheaga, Il Sonic, there's Lasso, which is now going on its 5th year, I think.
Fourth year.
The economic impact that you would have to Quebec and Montreal, especially with 50,000 people attending a day, has got to be massive.
Oh yeah, I think it's the second biggest event apart from the F1 in Montreal. Like as far as tours go, like hotels are at like 98% occupancy, Airbnbs, like taxis, restaurants, everything. Like it's big. I mean, we get 60% of our audience comes from Ontario alone. So you can imagine like trying to get that many people out here. It's gonna be a lot of people looking for places to sleep and eat and drink, obviously. But
so there are more big headlining artists, it seems to me, today than ever before, and I mean that because of stadium shows. I don't remember there being so many stadium shows like there are now, and we're actually building more stadiums for artists.
Yeah,
that's gotta is that a detriment to a festival like Osheaga, or is that just a bonus because you've got good touring business that's kind of helping out?
I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like I think that we don't have an actual proper stadium in Montreal, so we're not really cannibalizing ourselves in that way. But also the acts that are playing those stadium size venues, we can't afford them anymore anyway. So like this will be definitely the only year we'll be able to get Olivia Rodrigo, because she'll be on that next level, like next year. We won't be able to probably, afford like a Kendrick or a Post Malone again or something like that. But you never know. I mean, like sometimes it's something that the artist actually wants to do. But, like once you get to that level, it's kind of, why would you want to play with 35 other acts when you could just, be your own self-contained unit? So I think, like I said, because we have so many people from Ontario, yes, sure. I think having that many stadium shows in Toronto, might hurt us, but also we're talking about two different things, like a multi-act, multi-genre thing where, quite honestly, like a ticket for Osheaga being at, I believe it's like $425 for the weekend. If you're paying $350 to go see Oasis, for an extra like $75, you can go see another 2 headliners and another 90 acts. So it's two different things as well.
Last time I was at Osheaga, there was, I believe, 6 stages running. Like there's a lot of logistics that go into this.
Yes.
Is there talk of 6 stages paring down to 5 or 4, or are you going to go the other way and let's just say we're going to have 8 stages coming up?
I think with our footprint, we can't really afford. We actually lost a couple of years ago. We lost 350,000 square feet of space that the city didn't want us using anymore because lots of trees and whatnot. But so we did lose a stage, which was unfortunately also our kind of development stage for a lot of the younger Canadian and American bands that are emerging. That's where that stage was. So we haven't been able to, we've got, some partners that do a 6 stage still, but it's much smaller and much, there's only 9 acts over the weekend. So it's not the same thing. And I don't see a world where we have the footprint to be able to add any more stages to that.
The Killers, Glass Animals, Dominic Fike, Tyler the Creator, Gracie Abrams, Chainsmokers, Shabuzi. I can't believe how big Shabuzi got. It's unbelievable.
I know
How that song just took off. Olivia Rodrigo, Cage the Elephant, Jamie XX, Royal Otis, The Beaches. Those are your main bands on top of the list. You know, we're talking about there's a lot more stadiums, and the touring business is kind of really becoming a big thing again. It seemed like it went away where artists kind of got lost somehow, in my opinion, in the shuffle. But I'm seeing these bands today, like a Cage the Elephant or Gracie Abrams and such. They've really figured it out that, wait a minute, where our money is on the road. So how much does that kind of like with all these festivals and that, you got to be talking to a lot of different festivals kind of simultaneously, or do you not even worry about that? Or are you just waiting for agents to kind of pitch you guys for bands?
It's a bit of both. Like because Lollapalooza is on the same weekend as us, there's a lot of conversations happening with them where, you know, especially when you're trying to get an act over from the UK or Australia or something like that, you know, they're looking to obviously do more than one play, trying to, you know, like trying to make sure that, because like if you're a one-off, then that's going to be like triple what the normal value would be. So we talked to Lollapalooza a lot, and that's the main one. But there's a few, you know, now that we're in the Live Nation world, you know, there's a few other festivals we talked to for sure. But then we're a bit of a unique situation where a lot of festivals don't do arena and club business like we do. So, you know, we can actually help set up like an artist's like 3-4 year trajectory and just be like, okay, we're going to start at MTELUS, then you'll play Osheaga year 2, and then you'll come back and do the B arena, and then come back and do the A arena, and then, you know, year 5, come back and do Osheaga again in a bigger slot on the main stage kind of thing. So we have the, you know, we're fortunate that we can do that kind of stuff. But some standalone festivals, they're just reaching out. They're just, you know, throwing darts and hoping for the best. Like because we have constant communication with these agents, we're in a bit of a different place where we can, you know, really kind of like see, we know who's available next year already, you know, kind of thing. We're not even in the summer yet. So
yeah, but you've got to get moving on it, because
absolutely
before you know it, it's all those bands get booked up and there's no more space or there's no more budget to put something like this.
I first started noticing this with country when we started getting in the country game, where just how far out these guys were booking. And then Osheaga, you know, I mean, it wasn't an exact science, but it would be like maybe a month after the festival, we'd like let the dust settle. And then, you know, the 6 of us would get in the room and be like, all right, blank slate, what are we doing next year? But now it's, you know, the agents are reaching out earlier for slots. We're, you know, we've got the ideas of who, like, we know we're going to be on the road next year. So we're going to target, you know, one of those acts and then just kind of take it from there.
I think it's so smart that you guys, and it's great that you're able to do it, but the development of artists, because that's something where the artist just gains so much out of that at the end of the day. And it obviously helps your festival too, because there's a recognized brand in the marketplace. Tell me about Osheaga. What was one year that you remember and it was like, oh my God, that might have been the greatest thing I've seen on a stage in my lifetime? I know it's difficult to kind of recall just on the spur of the moment, given the fact that you see hundreds of shows in a year, but there's got to be some memorable times.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, like, you know, like the first time we did Childish Gambino, like that show was just absolutely wild. Like I just couldn't believe the stunts he was pulling out. And it was like, it was an incredible show. But I mean, like, you know, the first time Post Malone played on a small stage was great. Like Billie Eilish played in 2017, I want to say, and she had a broken leg and she was just like hobbling around on the stage with crutches and, you know, just putting on a clinic. Like it was just amazing to see. But yeah, I mean, we like, it happens all the time. And like, you know, some of it's personal taste, like, you know, Kurt Vile or, you know, so, I mean, when the Replacements played, you know, that was a big deal. You know, Nick, my boss, is like an old punk rocker, and that was like a really big get for him. And I remember when they were playing and Paul Westerberg was like, hey, who's on next? And it was like Lord was playing on the stage after, and he's like, who? Lord? Are they any good?
Talking about the development of artists and developing their touring business, Lord was an example of someone who really took off really fast, but didn't sustain. I maybe too fast, too quick in terms of development and getting up to that superstardom, but it seemed to me like it just didn't kind of sustain itself.
But then we could be talking a year from now, like maybe she's just, taking her time with her songs. You know what I mean? Like I think that 2 good songs and she could be back right on top, like that's the thing. Like the people that, never go away, I find, like after a while that kind of gets a little exhausting. But like if you actually take your time and go away and for a couple of years and come back, I think people are like, very excited if they're already fans, to like, unless, your music isn't good, but that's a whole other story. But
so it's been widely said that TikTok is one of the places for music discovery today. Do you find that that's a little bit of a danger in this situation? Because you'll have someone who's going to say, oh, they've got 9 billion streams on TikTok, but they may have not even done a show. So what is your team looking at when you're getting pitched some of these artists that are kind of taking off?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely, like when I was growing up, it was like you just cut your teeth live for years and years and years until somebody discovered you. But now it's like reverse engineering. It's like you've got the songs, but then maybe you've never played live or whatever. But I think that that like there's like the kind of gatekeepers of like like managers and agents or whatever. That's not going to put an artist in a situation where you would hope anyway that like by the time that they're ready to play live, the show stinks. And so like a lot of times you only get one shot at that. So I think that it's rare that I see like an act, even if they only have 1 or 2 songs, like and go see the show, that I'm like, like that was like, might not be my taste, but like it's rare that it's like that was complete garbage.
I love how you guys produce Osheaga too, because you have essentially 2 main stages right beside each other. And there's a 10-minute turnaround where
not even
that's
back
right.
To back. So one stops, the other one goes. I mean, it just, we're able to give artists a little bit of a longer set time. And, like our production team is, constantly have to be like literally like on the switch, like there's been a few people, notably
Machine Gun
Nick
Kelly.
Cave. Well, Machine Gun Kelly, but Nick Cave got cut off, because he went over, and it's like, it's like, how do you feel? The guy who cuts off Nick Cave, imagine how he feels. Even though Jack White, who's playing next, was like literally standing right there, like watching the show. It's like, you got to run on time, right? So
I saw that. I did see that with Machine Gun Kelly, and I actually liked it, not because he just took it so well. He's like, oh, he just all of a sudden had no vocals, no noise was coming out. He's like, shrugged his shoulders and waved and said, oh, okay, yeah. They told me this was going to happen. And I just liked that it happened. And he just kind of, went with it. And I forget who was, might've been Charlie XCX or something like that was on right away. And like you said, bang, next band, ready to go.
Yeah.
Patrick Guay.
I think the format really works. Like, I think it's like having that, just like not having any dead time there. Like, we've got the other stages you can wander over if it's not your thing or whatever, but I think there's a lot of people that just camp out at the 2 main stages all day.
Osheaga, it is August 1st through 3rd in Montreal. Tickets available right now. Great lineup. Congratulations to you. And I look forward to jumping in the car and seeing you this summer.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait.
On. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shed of dreams.